Welcome into another edition of Game Changers. That was a quick start. Mike Cunio, Kimbo Camper, Steve Goldstein here. And this is the part of the Dolphin season where we go, we can't have nice things. Because De'Von Achane this week, the news is he's going to likely miss a few weeks. We're not exactly sure yet at the time of this taping. Of course, we've got to wait to see if he's going to hit IR or not. But Goldie, I'll start with you. How big of a deal is this if De'Von is going to miss a few weeks, a month, maybe 5 weeks? Is this a problem for the offense?
Well, if you take it through the bye, then he gets a nice 6-week rest, that maybe, but who knows? You know, we're not doctors. He's been dynamic. He's been incredible. He's unbelievable at Hard Rock Stadium, going back to his Texas A&M days. Yeah. But what Mike McDaniel has done with this offense, with Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson on the way back and De'Von Achane when he's had his opportunity, sure, it hits the offense. But to me, a guy like De'Von Achane, not the biggest guy, a rookie in this league, I really wasn't counting on him to play all 17 games. It's kind of unrealistic in this league to think guys can do that these days, and that's why you have the stable. So unfortunate, yes, but devastating for this Dolphins team, honestly? I don't think so. With all the weapons they have on this offense and the depth they have in that room, as long as he's back at some point.
How much fun was it watching him run?
And you'll watch it again. I don't know when.
Look, from game one in the preseason when he touched the ball, you just saw silky smooth guy.
Even a training camp, right? We were watching practice.
Can weave through, and then you see him get in a game. He wasn't even dressed up the first game. Then he comes out and he blows up there. So you know what's me? I'm going to miss watching Achane run. That's what I'm going to miss.
He was starting making.
They got plenty of people on this team. Look, so you're taking a guy out that runs 22 miles an hour. Okay, we got two other guys back there at 21.9, and then we got some receivers. They're 23. So this is. You know what? There's an abundance of talent on this offense that can come and go, come in, come out, go, and you've got enough people in the stable where it's going to hurt a little bit. Look, we lost Craycraft week one, Ezukama, and then all of a sudden, here's Chase Claypool. Let's give him a shot.
Hey, so, Teron Armstead's missed games.
The wealth just keeps coming. And oh by the way, with not only Achane running well, Raheem Mostert running well. Let's take a look at that offensive line and see what they're doing to allow them to run and what the other guys that are sitting in the back of that room can do when they step behind that revamped offensive line that we were so brutal about during training camp. Then you get into week one and, hey, we got a great offensive line.
They're the unsung heroes of all this.
No doubt.
Absolutely. My favorite thing about this weekend, though, watching the way the Dolphins ran the ball, De'Von Achane ends up having a yards per carry average of like 11, right? Raheem Mostert, 6.5 yards per carry. So it's not, the drop-off is probably not going to be that. I think the drives will be a little bit more methodical with Raheem. I think De'Von just has this quick twitch where he can explode through a hole maybe a little bit faster. But Mostert in and of itself is fast. I just think maybe the 3-play drives may turn into 4 or 5 play drives.
The other thing you miss in all of the things that went on in the game on Sunday is Achane fumbling the football. And then his next carry, he goes 78 for a touch.
And by the way, the only reason with the turnovers, the Giants were even in the game. It's 50 to 10.
No doubt.
Literally, maybe 50 to 9. Without the 2 picks and the turnover. I just think the way they have this thing built, they have such depth. And even on Sunday, you may not have noticed, undrafted free agents, Chris Brooks and Julian Hill were in the game blocking as well. Year 2 under Mike McDaniel. He has the acumen to go out and hire an offensive line coach in Butch Berry that's obviously working well with him.
Great job. Great job by him.
It's amazing. So it almost seems, and I'm not going to call guys interchangeable. You need talent. When you see Julian Hill, who is a tight end at Campbell, the old Fighting Camels in D2, and Chris Brooks is in there, and they're helping the offensive. Didn't we all say, guys, Teron Armstead next to Tua is the most valuable player on this team? If he's out, that line can't perform. He's been out for 3 of the 5 games.
All right, let me ask you guys this, because we know Teron's going to be on IR. He's out 4 weeks no matter what. Do you think let's say Devon's healthy enough to play in a week or two. Are we seeing, Bo, you and I have talked about this a lot, are we seeing a trend with Mike McDaniel where he likes to maybe keep guys out an extra week just to be on the safe side? Because if you look at the Bills season right now may all of a sudden take it a nosedive defensively because of all their injuries.
That's definitely a trait that I see in Mike McDaniel is, and he said it before, he said, one part of my job is to save the players from themselves. Well, back in the old day, there was no saving the players by yourself. If you could limp out in the field, you were going to go out and play. But in this day and age, I do, and I agree with you. I think if Achane comes in, the doctor said he's healthy to go this week. Hey, DeVon, how are you feeling? Yeah, I'm ready to go, coach. But you know what? Let's give you another week. Just let you get good and healthy. We're in a good shape right now. I'll give you a week off, and we'll see what happens next week.
I'd be curious.
He's got enough wealth or riches to do that. Right. Now you lose someone next week and someone next week, and then all of a sudden that knot gets a lot tighter.
Well, you look at that schedule. They're beating Carolina either way. They're going to be in New England at home in a couple weeks either way. Sandwiched around that Sunday night at Philly, which they'll build up as a Super Bowl preview. Then the game in Germany against the Chiefs, I'm looking far down the road though. I think if the Dolphins continue this, they need to have home field advantage. In order to beat the Bills and Chiefs, I believe they've got to come to Hard Rock. Dolphins do not want to go to Arrowhead, do not want to go up to Buffalo. So that head-to-head against the Chiefs, and by the way, that's a few weeks down the road, so maybe they manage it that way. But if you listen when Mike McDaniel's mic'd up after the games, and this week he's like, it's another step. Get better next week. Mike McDaniel isn't looking at 6 days from now. He's looking at mid-January into February. He knows there were 3 preseason games. There's 17 regular season, and there's 3 or 4 more to win the whole thing. Jalen Phillips misses 4 or 5 of those, that's fine.
The goal of the season wasn't to be 4-1 after 5 weeks. It's to be home field advantage.
But look at the makeup of this roster. You just mentioned Jalen Phillips. Jalen Phillips hasn't played in 3 games.
There's another one.
You haven't missed him with Van Ginkel, right?
Phillips, Ramsey, and Armstead.
You really haven't missed him.
I mean, you're talking Pro Bowl talent.
You could get them all back at the back end of the season. It's crazy. All right, so the Dolphins won this week. That washed the stench off Hard Rock Stadium. We have to talk about what happened to the Miami Hurricanes in our next segment, because this is one that Mario Cristobal and the Canes won't live down for.
Mario,
get a bag.
Just take the knee, man.
Proposing.
Isn't this easy? This isn't hard. Come on, Canes fans.
Game changers coming
That's
right
required.
back.
That's
it's not hard.
That's a requirement.
How easy was that?
There. Joe Pisarcik.
All right, welcome back to Game Changers. The Miami Hurricanes changed the game in a very bad way at the end of Saturday night's game against the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. They should have had a win. They should have been 5-0 going into UNC, but no, here we are, 4-1. The talk of the football world, maybe the sports world, for all the wrong reasons, guys. Lasting impacts of the decision not to kneel. Goldie, you go first.
I mean, honestly, you saw the Canes players. I think you could lose a locker room that way. That's just my opinion. You work so hard, and Bo, you know this, we don't. You played in the NFL, big-time college football at San Jose State. When you put in all that time, all that effort on the practice field. Well, the Spartans, we got to give them a little love out there out west. All the time, all the effort on the field, off the field, in the weight room, all the things that you're asked of as a college player now. And then you've got a game won, literally, and a bad decision costs you a win. It's just got to be disheartening. Mario, he took the hit, said it's a bad decision. But, man, at this level, it's just a decision you cannot make. It should be an automatic. Less than 40 seconds, play clock. It's automatic.
There's no excuse. No excuse whatsoever for Mario or any coach in that offense to not stick their head in there and say kneel on the ball. Ridiculous.
Defense.
Ridiculous. The second time he's done it. And look, this stain's not going to come off. And look, this team was riding high. Man, they're great offense. They're doing a lot of stuff. Now all of a sudden, and he's got 5-star recruits coming in. How many of those recruits go, wait, I'm going to play for a guy like that? That the most simple call of a game. You have been in this position for a long time in big-time college football, and you don't know to do that? I might want to go elsewhere here.
You might. I will say this, in this new age of NIL, I think
you just pay more money. Just cough up more money.
Coach Stoops in Kentucky?
In the same vein.
Telling fans just give money?
Right. In the same vein, though, look, the way college football is now, the way you have to ask for money from donors, from NIL people, you're asking them to trust you with their investment. To me, that's the bigger hit here, is the long-term effects. As you mentioned recruiting, there were a lot of five-star guys, a lot of blue-chip guys in the stands that night at Hard Rock Stadium. It's a cool atmosphere at night for a Canes game, but for them to see that.
It'd be nice to have some more people there.
But that's honestly what worries me the most, because he was on such a good track of building so much goodwill, recruiting the area, and everyone will now, as you guys mentioned, we'll recruit against him with this. Hey, do you want to come coach for us, where we know what to do at the end of the games? We're not going to cost you wins, not going to cost you college football playoff spots.
You think it really flips decisions?
This is one of those decisions that he made that allows people now to say, hey, look, when he was in Oregon, he did pretty good, but his offense really wasn't that good. He didn't really showcase Herbert that well. I remember watching Oregon with Herbert, and I go, hey, he looks like he's pretty good, but I don't see anything, this offense being that dynamic. So now you got a coach that came over worked his way into a big-time program, a top 10 program almost every year, but didn't get an offense that was working completely, never got him to the national championship, comes here trying to create the same thing, and then this falls in your lap. You got to think, oh, wait a minute, his offense back there wasn't, and now you're doing this, and this is coaches in Pee Wee football know better than that.
So
at least my coach did.
Yeah, but it's the thing. It's just another thing to work against Miami, right? People negatively recruit against them, saying they don't have the facilities, even though they are building that up. They're adding more facilities to Miami, but over the years they don't have the facilities, they don't have the fans, they don't have the on-campus stadium. Oh, by the way, they now don't have a coach who can secure a win for you at the end. So it's just another thing to add.
What's the lag on voting in the polls?
What do you mean?
People are voting in the polls. They got to climb up the polls if they want to get back into a major bowl and get in the playoffs. And if you got that, you go, wait, I'm going to move a guy up into the third position when you.
Now the schedule gets tough too.
I'm not voting for those. I'm not moving those guys.
Let me ask you something. End of the year. Let me play devil's advocate right now. I'm glad you brought that up. Let's say Miami wins out. And it's not the BCS anymore. It's not computers. Although shout out, they were number 1 last week in the BCS. It's in the hands of a committee.
Yes.
If Miami's ACC champs and they're 10-11, whatever the record is, and they're trying to get in the playoff, do you go, hey, you know what? They should have been 12-0.
Let's say there's 10 games. Let's say there's 6 teams that are 10-1, and they're looking for 4.
Right.
Yeah, well, I think you look at it that way, and you say they had a game won that they lost. But that's,
do they get in?
It's a huge hypothetical, though. Now that you're getting into the teeth of the schedule, keep in mind they were favored by 3 touchdowns over Georgia Tech and barely beat them, even though they didn't beat them.
I think that happens in college.
So you're going to reward them for making a call like that.
Well, you're giving it to the players. You're giving the players a shot because your coach blew a game.
Right, the coach caused the L.
It's an interesting point, yeah.
So I don't know. Would they get
it? Players cause losses that doesn't give coaches another shot, right?
That's true. I got nothing. Once again, Bo outsmarts me.
But it's about the students. It's about the student athletes, of course. So you want to give them a chance.
The integrity of the game. That's right. All right, we're going to come here on Game Changers. We're making left-hand turns on the NASCAR track. We got Al Garcia, president of Homestead Miami Speedway, coming over here next. Welcome back to Game Changers. Let's go fast. Who doesn't like to go fast? We're talking NASCAR right now. We got President of Homestead Miami Speedway here, Al Garcia. Al, thanks for joining us. I love when we have guests in-house because then we got a unique perspective. Couple weeks, October 21st, 22nd, the big races come down here. What should fans be looking forward to in terms of the playoff? We know the championship doesn't end here, but the playoff implications are still around.
Absolutely. And first of all, thanks for having me and giving me the opportunity to talk about my favorite subject, which is NASCAR Cup Series racing. We do have a doubleheader on Saturday with the Truck Series at noon and then the Xfinity Series at 3 p.m. So it's akin to a major race for AAA, then AA, and then the big show, the big leagues on Sunday. And so you alluded to the fact we don't have the championship race anymore.
Right.
To me, this is almost a favorable position because it's akin to the AFC and NFC championship weekends.
That's right.
Right? So in the past, on the Final Four, we're hosting the Elite 8. So there'll be 8 drivers, or at least 7, depending on who wins this weekend in Vegas, competing for the 4 final spots. So the drama, the tension, the effort, in the championship race, race, the 4 drivers that are eligible will be racing up front. Everybody doesn't want to get in the way and mess it up. But here there's 8 drivers vying for 4 positions. So the competition is going to be incredibly intense, and we really look forward to hosting all our friends that come down to see NASCAR in South Florida.
You get a little bit more of the field involved in these races when it's not the championship, which is kind of cool. Now, one of my favorite things about going down to Homestead this time of year is I love seeing the trucks pull up from center field there where they can like party and do all that stuff. What are some of the events that'll happen? I know the week of there's always a bunch of stuff going on.
Right. There's NASCAR's become very, very diverse. We're innovative, we're inclusive, and we're diverse. So, for example, Pitbull is a minority owner of Trackhouse Racing Team with Ross Chastain and Daniel Suarez. So they'll have a show car that they're going to be moving around in Market and Wynwood and South Beach and all the different clubs leading up to the race weekend. But the race really is the pinnacle of big time auto racing in the U.S. The best drivers in the world will be competing. The intense competition, but it's a party. Make no mistake about it. At Indy they have the Snake Pit. We have the Layers Hard Lemonade Beach Bash. So we've created a beach and a spring-fed lake in the infield, kayaks, paddle boards. I mean, where else can you watch a NASCAR race from the top of a paddleboard, right? And we have a lot of entertainment. We have an EDM show as part of pre-race ceremonies.
You're not getting anywhere else.
No, you're not getting anywhere else for sure. And we try to celebrate the eclectic culture and the melting pot that South Florida is. So we have a lot of influences from Wynwood and Little Havana and Jamaican food and the agro-tourism from the Redlands. So we really like to expose the folks that come in from out of town to what we have to offer in South Florida if they don't have the opportunity to get into these different communities.
Yeah, you said something and it made me bump on it. You mentioned the best drivers in the world. Are you guys starting to recruit off I-95 now? I mean, are here to get some of those folks in there? Because
well, in the truck race on Saturday, there's a local. Nick Sanchez grew up in the backyard, and he raced go-karts in the parking lot at Homestead Miami Speedway.
Oh, wow. Okay,
he enrolled in the NASCAR's Drive to Diversity program, and now he's one of the championship contenders in the Truck Series. He's in the Final 4 right now, 3 points, so he's got to perform to be able to have a shot in Phoenix. But yes, his dad trained him on 95, so if you can get out of there, it's almost like Talladega. But
I love those full circle moments, those stories. All right, if anyone wants to get involved, wants to get tickets, where can they go?
Yeah, come on out. We're very, very inclusive. It's affordable. NASCAR, we try to be very, very inclusive. So we have tickets that are $1,000 a day, all inclusive food, bar. But entry level tickets are at $35 or $40. You can bring the family. Unlike a lot of the venues in town, you can exit the speedway and then come back in, and you're allowed to bring in your own cooler, so you can bring your food, your drink. You can come in and out. So it's very inclusive, very easy. It's lush Miami, so we try to be very, very relaxed and very accommodating to anybody and everybody that wants to come out. But if you want to come out to the race, the easiest way is homesteadmiamispeedway.com, or conversely, you can dial 866-409-RACE 7223. So 409-7223.
There you go. October 21st and 22nd.
Yes, sir. October 21st, 22nd.
Just a couple weeks away. We have all these big sporting events in Miami. Just throw another one on top of the deck.
Sir.
Al, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, you got it, Mike.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks. Still to come on Game Changers, we're playing a new game. Who had a good week? Who had a bad week? Kim Camper, Steve Goldstein coming right back. All right, we're wrapping things up here on Game Changers. We got a new game. Good week, bad week. The fellas can choose either or. Who's having a good week? Who's having a bad week?
But my week was okay. I love Mike with the games, though. You're amazing inventing these games for the show.
I'm sure someone's invented this in the past. But my week's going good. Thanks for asking, Bo.
Yeah, you didn't ask him how his week was.
I don't care how his week was.
Right.
Yeah, I know. Bo, let's start with you. Yeah, I'm going to put you on my bad.
Now you're changing it.
I'm changing it. All right, Bo, what do you got?
Good week. Give me Cole? Is that what you're going to give me?
Yes, in the stocking. Good week, bad week.
I'm going bad week.
Okay.
And this guy's going to pop up a lot, I think, during this thing. And I'm going to go with cheater Bill Belichick with his vaunted Patriots at 1-4. And was it goose egg? A goose egg at the house that Robert Kraft built? Uh-oh, things are heating up in Foxborough, my friends.
The hot seat. The hot seat. It's crazy. He's had his worst 2 losses in his career, back-to-back weeks.
Yeah.
That is tough to top.
It's a joy to see, my friend.
No one's happier than this guy. All right, Goldie, what do you got?
I didn't know he was going with that. Yeah. But I am staying in the AFC East.
Ooh.
I am also going to a coach, and you've got to read this because this is all you need to know.
Mike McDaniel, #1 offense after 5 games ever. Yeah,
Ever.
Forget
the most
the greatest
yards.
show on turf.
And by the way, let's think about this. What was it, 20 months ago? And you're all guilty out there, well, some of you. People ready to run Tua out of town. This guy walks in, hires a QB coach, Darrell Bevell. Frank Smith comes in. John Embry runs the tight ends and helps out as well. And all of a sudden, and Tua deserves all the credit. He's the player.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, they do this complete transformation, confidence-wise, design an offense around this guy, and this guy is the league MVP in the middle of October. Mike McDaniel, you had a heck of a week.
All right, I'm going to stay on the Shanahan tree. Good week. Good week. Brock Purdy.
Very nice.
Brock Purdy inserting himself into the MVP conversation alongside. What do you mean?
What do you mean?
No interceptions.
He's right there. I got to give it to you.
Never lost a regular season game since being in the league.
You watched the last game?
What about it?
42 points.
Any ball he threw over like 10 yards was like 5 yards off target. I mean, he's not. Come on.
I don't know.
Look, I'm not saying.
Hard to argue, Bo.
Look,
because Garoppolo couldn't make it work.
That football team is so good. Look. I'm fine with that. I got no problem with that.
You did. You're coming off the ledge. I think I talked you off it because look, Tua's got weapons too. If we want to play that game.
I know.
All right. You know what it is? It's a bad week for the rest of the NFL. Good week for them because they are terrifying. That is a terrifying football team.
Can I make an addition to the game?
Yes.
One little addition? Okay, I'm going to go right here. If you can read this. Chris Greer, okay? Because this guy had one job interview for a head coach.
That's right.
It was in Miami.
And this guy gave him the job.
Chris Greer, how's that? Add him and Tom Garfinkel and Stephen Ross. They were in on the decision.
Before we end, I got to send a shout out to Dick Butkus.
Oh, yes.
Yes, sir.
Losing Dick Butkus last week, and I met him twice. I was afraid of him. I stepped back when I met him. I said, well, I'm going to step back because this guy looks a little too dangerous for me. And his eyes kind of like go around like that a little bit. Yeah. But I tell you, what a guy, man.
Yeah.
Well said, Bo.
I think I saw he tweeted a picture before the season started. He was on the field there, Soldier Field, and he's like, give me some pads and point me in the direction of a quarterback. Let's go.
Then you say football, and then Dick Butkus got to pop out.
Well, you know what? One of the legends and pioneers and all the guys today need to look back and a thank you to guys like Dick Butkus.
Yes. The NFL, you close your eyes and you try to picture a football player, as you mentioned. Dick Butkus is one of the templates there, if you will.
All right,
it's been a fun edition of Game Changers. We'll do it all next week. We'll see why Goldie got his right. No, I'm saying you got yours right.
Yeah,
Good week. I'm not going to give you.
I mean, ever. The most yards ever?
I know. Greatest show on Surf.
Come on.
Awesome. Look, they blew it away. They didn't beat it by 10 yards.
Could have been worse.
So like a 300-yard, 400 yards difference.
Right.
Thanks for joining us on Game Changers again this week. We will see you next time, and we'll be talking a little hockey, I think, next week.
Let's go.
Thursday, Panthers get going. There you go.